Hey, good morning, Natalia. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Sean. I'm fine, thank you. Actually, I'm from Ukraine, as
Okay.
we say, "Я Україна," and I was lucky to escape, to get through all those devastating events, and actually, I'm in a safe place now. So,
Well,
compared to the rest, I'm good.
that's great. I'm grateful that you're safe, and we'll talk a little bit about your journey here in just a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
So Natalia, where were you at? Or where are you from in Ukraine?
I'm from Kharkov, the
Okay.
first capital of Ukraine. It used to be the first capital of Ukraine. Unfortunately for us, we are the first one to the border with Russia. Sorry, we're the nearest, and we received the first hit. And our soldiers are actually they're incredible. They're doing great,
Wow.
fighting and protecting. I would say probably nearly the whole Ukraine, because it looks like um, the main forces of Russia are concentrated not far from there, even though I know that Mariupol suffered uh, tremendously.
Right.
It's pain and sorry. Yeah.
No, I can't imagine, and we'll talk about this in a second here, kind of how
Mhm.
what happened the night of the 24th of February. But before we do that, tell me a little bit about your life prior to the 24th of February. Do you have family, children? What do you do in Ukraine? Give me a little information about who you
Oh,
are.
before that, we had wonderful life. We dreamed about our future. I worked at school with kids of the age of 6 up to 15, 16 even. It was incredible, and now I understand that I miss them a lot. We made lots of concerts, performance, different crazy things that you can do with kids. Went to the theater. I absolutely loved it. Um, we have, I hope we still have, one of the most beautiful parks in Ukraine. It's incredible with lots of flowers, fountains, and even some people quite famous from Kiev came to our Kharkov, and they said that it's absolutely beautiful city, and they would like their mayor to do something similar in their
Hmm.
city as well. Even though Kiev is the capital of Ukraine, yet they admitted that our Kharkov was absolutely beautiful, and I love just to go out, to walk around. Admiring the nature and the beauty of our city, especially the center part, because it's beautiful. We have lots of
Hmm.
theaters, lots of different exhibitions. So if you're bored sitting at home, you always have something where to go, what to do. It's incredible. So, yeah, we all had our works, families, meeting with friends, and it's just that up to up to the last moment, we didn't believe it.
I was going to ask about that. So, what leading up to the 24th of February, what were you thinking? Did you think that, obviously being so close to the Russian border, you saw their military starting to, I'm assuming you saw their military starting to gather, but did you
Mhm.
think they would actually attack, or did you feel like this is just typical Putin saber rattling, making threats, but surely he wouldn't attack?
Yes, you are right. We thought that it was just a threat and just nasty prank. It's just that we couldn't even think of it,
Hmm.
and none of us really believed. Well, I don't mean I. Some people most definitely they knew in advance, they predicted, and they had time to flee, but My family and I personally, and all my colleagues, up to the last moment, we were preparing, planning our lessons, events with kids. We didn't believe it.
Mm.
Even on the 24th, when I woke up, I saw that, the first thought was, it's weird. Somebody having fireworks, started fireworks
Hmm.
in the morning. It's just weird. And then I realized, no, it's not the firework. It was like within a second, and yet it felt like the whole life, just different thoughts in your head. What to do next? What's going on? Is it real? Is it not? It's just scary.
And so what happened that morning? So the 24th, obviously, from other folks I've talked with, it was immediately all over the news and the web that it's happening. The war is happening. What did you do? What give me kind of the progression of that week from the 24th, that next week. What was your life like?
It was quite strange because, first of all, even on the 24th, when the shooting finished, we were all kind of a little bit puzzled, thinking, is it all? Is it going to be more? Was it just like once an occasion, just single bombing or whatever, shooting, and that's it? They just, maybe we were hoping, I would say, that they would just threaten us, and then they're gonna discuss something, they would come to certain conclusions. Still, even then, me personally, I didn't believe it.
Hmm.
I said, okay, we're scared probably, right, but still, you're not crazy. We used to call ourselves brothers and sisters,
Hmm.
our grandparents died together fighting for peace.
Right.
And I know that Putin likes to say, oh, we remember our history, we're so proud, and never ever again we're going to have it in our land. So that's why probably I didn't want to believe it up to the last moment. And then after that, it was kind of, a minute of puzzling. Okay, so what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Where to run? And then it was like, okay, so I need to prepare my documents. What can I take with me? That an escaping bag, and that's it actually. So just in case, we prepared a bag that we can grab and go straight away if it was the only way to do. But the thing is that when it is when something happens like this, I mean, shooting, bombing, shelling, uh, people are so scared. We were
Right.
scared even to go out, even
Hmm.
though on the first day it was, it's just that I might not remember everything because memory protects us from all the
Right.
bad experience. So I think that on the first day, even some public transport even worked, and people were walking outside, and that's why I thought that, okay, that's it. It won't happen again. It won't repeat. So within few days, we stayed at home, and we were even discussing. So, do we need to go to work, or we are staying? Are we working online? What's going on? Nobody knew it. So it was a bit of mess and chaos slightly the first few hours, and then we agreed, okay, we'll just leave up to Monday, and we'll see what Monday gonna bring us, one step at a time. So from one side, the whole country, people stayed at home.
Hmm.
We were expecting, waiting for something, even though we didn't know what we were waiting for. We
Hmm.
were waiting most definitely for some good news that that's it, nothing gonna happen, nothing else, no one gonna die. But shelling started again,
Hmm.
bombing, and we just realized that the only safe place was in the hall. It's just that our buildings are built in such a way that there is no special basement where you can be
Right.
safe. I There is no way to run. The only proper building to be safe, or just kind of to have shelter from these bombs, is underground. But then you
Hmm.
need to get to the underground, and it
Right.
wasn't safe either. So the only way was just to stay in the buildings, a bit further away from the windows, ideally, so that you would have two walls away.
Hmm.
And that was the only case. So we were
That's
going to
amazing.
bed hoping that tomorrow won't it won't repeat tomorrow.
Right.
And we lived like that probably for 10 days. And then even after 4 days of being bombarded heavily. And the thing is, the problem was that we lived very close to this kind of what is it, the area that is nearest to the end of the city, closest to the border with Russia. So we were the first one in our area. Since the first day has been bombarded every single day.
Wow.
So you can
Let
imagine how stressful it was to live there. So after a few days, we decided to move a little bit closer to the city center and stayed with our relatives. So
let me ask you this question. So
yeah.
you said you stayed, obviously for a few days before leaving. During that time, did you have any contact with any of your students? What were they? I mean, I'm sure you said from 6 years old to early to mid teens.
Mhm.
Obviously, their world is being turned upside down as well. Were you able to communicate with them or share anything? Were they trying to reach out to you? I mean, I'm sure their families were all doing the same thing, trying to figure out what's next. Where do we go?
Yeah, even though we were apart, away from each other, we communicated through Viber, social medias, we tried to support each other, sharing jokes or what kind of things we could do during while sitting in the holes, hiding from bombs, because obviously it is difficult. You can imagine that it is difficult for adults, and for kids it was even worse. So we had to be strong to
Mhm.
show our kids that we do care of them, and we tried to distract them. We tried to play different games, which thanks thanks God we had internet, signal, so we were able to show them some kind of cartoons, just to sit next to them, give them a cuddle. uh,
Wow.
that was the only way, to give some kind of suggestion, give them
Mhm.
hope that it's gonna finish, it's gonna end soon. I don't know. It was just difficult emotionally.
I can't imagine, but I can imagine. We have some partners that we work with down in Moldova and in Romania, and we've been housing a number of guests, Ukrainian guests, over the past, well, since the 24th of February, really.
Hmm.
And some of the pictures that I've seen that our pastors have taken down there, um, the ones that capture my heart the most are always the children, and you can tell that they don't necessarily know what's going on. I mean, they kind of get it, but yet um, they don't. I mean, why either? I can't imagine how many questions go through a child's mind, and the fact that you know they have a whole life ahead of them that they're going to remember this, and and so yeah, thank you for being a teacher. First of all, thank you so much. I know through COVID and through other things, you guys have had a rough couple of years trying to navigate all of that, and now this. So
Yeah.
thank you for caring about the youth of this generation, and know that you're making a difference. And as you said, sometimes even just the cartoons and the cuddles can make a massive difference in a child's life and bring some certainty. So
Yeah.
so once you decided to, so you moved to the center of the city, and when did you make the conscious effort to leave Ukraine? And what was that journey like? How did you get out of Ukraine?
The thing is that it was kind of in the air because it became more and more louder and more difficult emotionally to stay there, feeling these vibrations of the buildings, thinking, oh my gosh,
Mm,
is it going to be us? Who's going to be the next one? Because uh, all these bombs, they landed not far from us either. So, and then I remember that one night, it was the loudest and the heaviest probably, and in the
mm,
morning I received a phone call from one of our relatives, and they said, Natasha, we are going and we have one place in the car. Would you consider going with us? Um, it was difficult because it meant that I had to leave the whole family behind,
mm.
and I have mom who is still in Ukraine.
Wow.
Sorry, and grandma. She's 93 years old.
Mm,
And then mom said that, well, Natasha, it means that it looks like at least you're not a child anymore. And I've had my life,
mm.
and the whole life is in front of you yet. And I hope that you'll get out. So, sorry.
No, no.
Uh, so she said that it's okay, I'll stay with grandma and you're going.
Wow.
Yeah, so then
Wow.
um, within a few minutes, our relatives came and they just took me. And I know that the same day, uh, mom and auntie, they were taken to different places as well. Mom went to grandma straight away, and she was there with her. And my journey was towards Dnieper. It was um, it was difficult because of all this bombing and shooting on both sides. The queue was tremendous. I think that it took us something like 2 hours to get out of the city. Usually it takes like 20-30 minutes, but it was even more than 2 hours. We were
Wow.
literally crawling, moving so slowly. And we had to stop not far from Dnieper first of all and stayed overnight to there, asking their relatives to give us a place where to stay overnight. And it was so weird to come to a different city, seeing all the buildings in one place, because while getting out of Kharkov, I saw so many ruined and destroyed buildings that
Mm,
it was unbelievable to see a city that is not so far from us. All the buildings are perfectly well. People are
mm.
going, they're smiling. People are celebrating, going with bunches of flowers, with balloons. Kids are smiling. Um, it was um, difficult emotionally because there was such a contrast. I don't want to say that I wanted someone else to experience. No, no, no. But it was I was a bit confused, and my emotions were. I can't even describe it, but it was weird. And then um, before getting on the train, I decided, okay, I just need to take some food with me. So I went to the shop, and I realized that I stood in front of the shelves with bread, nearly crying, because in Kharkov, shops were nearly empty.
Hmm.
And because they didn't have enough food,
Right.
we were allowed to take only one bread of loaf, only one per person. And it was a miracle that we were able to take one extra for grandma, because at that moment she lived separately, and I was the only person who carried the food to her, because obviously transport didn't work, so I had to
Right.
walk. And while
Hmm.
walking, I was constantly on the phone to mom, because she was afraid that something gonna happen to me. So yeah, it was difficult, really.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you took the train, it sounds like,
yeah.
from
From
to
Dnieper, but it was even, from Dnieper to Lvov, I had to queue more than 5 hours. And while traveling, it was also difficult, because trains, they were absolutely packed. People
yeah.
had to stand in between in aisles. We had to take turns. So we sat for a while, and then after a certain time we let somebody else to sit, because it was difficult, really difficult. People, sometimes we didn't have even chance to go to the toilet, because we were unable even to get to that point.
Right.
So it was difficult, really.
I saw a picture from one of the folks I talked to last week,
Hmm.
and she snapped a picture of her train ride, and it was exactly how you just described it. People crammed so tight in there, and she said the same thing, that they would rotate seats. Everyone would sit, for a few minutes, and then you'd get up and allow someone else to sit for a few minutes and rotate through. How long was your train trek from? What? Let me ask you this: what border did you end up at? Poland.
Yes, the journey was quite long. First of all, I moved from Dnieper to Lviv, and I met wonderful people who allowed me to stay with them overnight, and then I had to queue another 5 hours for another train to take me to Poland, and it was nearly the same, but it was not really the same. It was a bit more comfortable, because we didn't have to take turns, who was sitting and who was standing. In this case, it was a bit easier. One train took probably about 8 hours, and then another one not that far as well. I came to, oh my gosh, I forgot the name of that town, or city. Sorry, but I remember that people there, they were absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
I think that quite a lot of Ukrainians gonna say the same. A huge, huge thank you, because the minute we uh, were out of the train, we were offered food, hot drinks, clothes. I remember, like, little kids, they were given toys and sweets. They were the most happiest kids ever. They started smiling again. They were playing with these
Hmm.
toys, and I thought that, oh my gosh, it was so incredible to see them smiling, and it looks like they completely forgot about all their troubles. And parents, they were just crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Poland has done
Wow.
absolutely incredible job, and I know that other countries, they've been incredible as well. And I know that uh, when Poland was given to Germany in 39, sorry, they said that we remember what does it mean to be given without any help.
Mm.
And so they said that we understand what you're going through.
Wow. Wow. So that compelled them. That compelled them to make sure that they were prepared to welcome and do whatever they could, because I know that Poland, it's taken a toll on Poland as well. All the folks coming into Poland, they're
Mhm.
not a very rich country, and I know that they filled up very quickly. When you have that kind of surge that you're not ready
Mhm.
for, um,
Yeah.
it can put a real strain and on the system. So let me ask you a couple questions here. First of all,
Sure.
where are you now?
Now I'm in England. I managed to get to my sister because she lives here, and she's been living here for nearly 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
And I know that my mom would like to be here as well, but unfortunately, it's not possible at the moment. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to stay here, and it's quite interesting how, when everything is good and fine, we think sometimes we're dreaming of going abroad, traveling, living in completely different country. And it was funny actually, not long before the war started, we were discussing the possibility of spending our spring holidays in Lviv. And because Poland is not that far, we said, oh, maybe we'll have chance to go and see Poland as well. So
Hmm.
it was kind of nearly there. I was dreaming
Right.
about seeing Lviv. I was there. Then it was Poland. But then from another side, I've realized how much I love my country.
Hmm.
And now all that I just want to go back, to be honest.
Wow.
It's weird. Strange.
No, it's not, because I've heard that now several times. That First of all, the Ukrainian people are so strong. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I think a lot of folks here in the United States have been, I don't want to say surprised about, but just motivated by, if I can use that word, motivated by how strong and loyal, and we see these images and hear these stories of citizens, everyday citizens, taking up arms to protect their neighborhood or their homes or their country. And you know for many here in the United States, that they may not be willing to do that, and so it's been very inspiring to see a nation gather together, um, and I can understand why you'd want to get back to that. Plus, it's your home. It's your home. Ukraine is your home,
Yes, it's just,
and
it looks like Ukrainian code has been activated in us, and we are proud to say that yes, I'm Ukrainian. I'm from Ukraine. I am Ukraine. It's just yes, it's me, and I'm extremely proud of our people. And even though I know that it's not safe even now, but yet people who are there, they're working, they're restoring, and it's incredible. I saw some pictures. They're planting flowers, then
hmm,
cleaning and tidying up the city. They've been restoring little by little by doing job, just to tidy up a little bit, if it is possible to say so.
right,
And people who are helping with pipes, electricity, they've been doing absolutely amazing work, because I know that quite a lot of times they've been out trying to fix everything, despite the fact that it was dangerous.
right,
And even though it's a war in my city as well, not just the country, but city itself. Every
Right.
day there has been shooting.
Hmm.
They're doing something. People are still there. They are living, and I know that more and more people are coming back, and it's incredible.
Wow.
People are coming back to the city, to Ukraine, and quite a lot of Ukrainians, they're saying that I just want home. And I had
Hmm.
chance to talk to my kids, some of them. Uh, it's incredible as well. They're everywhere in Germany, in Denmark, in Poland. Someone is in Italy, and quite a lot of them, they're saying, we're missing our country, we're missing our school, we're missing our lessons. And some of them said that I don't want to study abroad, I want to go
Right.
home.
Wow.
It's incredible.
That is incredible, and I think for students here in the United States, I have a 19-year-old daughter, and she's a great kid. Um, but I just remember growing up, as she was growing up, sometimes you take that education and that security of school for granted, and then when something like you see something like this, you know, it
Hmm.
totally changes your perspective on what's important and what you value. So, Natalia, let me ask you this as we start to wrap up the interview for today. How can people here in the United States help? How can everyday people like myself, um, aunts and uncles and grandmas and parents, what can they do here to help over there? What would you recommend?
I think that what we do need, I know that quite a lot of people are praying for peace. And I think that quite a lot of people, what they need, just a chance to restore their souls, the ability to dream again,
Mm,
to look into the future, to hope for something, to build, to plan their future lives. And what we do need is this hope, for the
mm,
best. And it would be nice. Also, what do we want, to be honest? Most definitely to for this war to be stopped. That's no questions about it, no doubts. But we would like Russian people to know what they're doing, because even now it looks like
mm,
their brain has been washed so um, so strongly that even now they don't believe that something horrible is happening. I know that quite a lot of them are saying that all these nasty things in Mariupol, in Irpin, in Bucha, even Kharkov, we've done it. As if we have
right.
nothing else to do but to destroy ourselves, And it's weird. I don't know
Mm,
how, but it would be nice for them to open their eyes, to
mm,
take these rose glasses away, pink, as we call it, pink glasses away, and just to see the reality, to
right.
understand what they've done. And as they say, Russian peace is not a peace, it's a
Mm,
war, it's a disaster, it's a catastrophe. I don't know how whether it is possible or not. It's just like there is an anonymous who said that they're famous for their cyber attacks. So it would be nice for them to attack their news program on highlight. This just to show all the pictures for the whole country, for them to realize what they've done.
wow.
And most definitely, we would need someone's help as well from abroad, just then later to restore our country, because it's, you know, I can't even imagine how it is possible to restore all these buildings unless to knock down them. The
Right.
amount of the metal of these ruined tanks and etc. This amount is, I don't know even, it's
Right.
incredible. what we gonna do with it, how we can clean it, I don't know, honestly. So it would be nice to receive the help maybe even a bit later with restoring, and most definitely we do need peace.
Well, I think it's important for people here in the United States, something that you just said, to remember is that the rebuilding efforts are going to take a tremendous amount of resource. And so I think it's important for us to remember that, and to not stop praying and giving and helping any way we can with those rebuilding efforts. So I think that's important, for all of us to do. Well, I just have a couple more questions for you.
Mhm.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but how are your mom and your grandma?
uh, Grandma is in the hospital unfortunately now because she has pneumonia, but
Uh,
at least she's there and she's looked after, and mom was sure that there is no worry. She doesn't need to worry about her because she's very well looked after, and she said that you won't believe, but we're doing even better than we did before the war. So at least they have all the medicines, and I mean, it's fine. But mom is finding it difficult now. It gets harder and harder each day to face it, to cope with it. But just because she's not alone there, she's with her sister, they are living together now. It gives them help and they support each other. And she said that that's the only thing that helps.
wow.
And every day we start with the phone call. How are you? And sometimes, you don't need even to hear anything. As long as there is a response to your phone call, that's it. You can
Just
breathe
know
out.
that
Yes.
that
That's
they're
how
there.
I think that most of us we start our days. Even now, we every day before having breakfast, just open your eyes, grab the phone, bring in, there is an answer. That's it. Now you can go and have your breakfast, cup of coffee, whatever. But as
Right.
long as they are alive, it that's matter really.
Wow.
And that's how they start their days back in Ukraine as well, because we still have quite a lot of relatives, and it looks like younger generation with kids, and sometimes even with moms, if they don't have men, they left the city, the country itself, because those who have men in the family, they stay with them.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. So, well, I want to thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Afternoon your time, morning my time, and thank you so much for sharing your story. There are so many pieces of your story that resonate, and especially being a teacher like yourself, and still having still caring about your students and their well-being and making sure they're safe, and someone told me the other day, they said, "We don't want peace in Ukraine. We want our country back." And I
that's
thought,
true.
I thought that is such a powerful statement. We don't want peace. We want our country back. And I know that's the hope and prayer for a lot of Ukrainians, that they'll be able to get home soon. And so that's our hope and prayer for you guys as well. And so just thank you so much for spending the time with me this morning.
Okay. Sean, you said that we don't need peace. We do need peace. As long as I think that quite a lot of people, when they're in hardships or when they go through something similar, it is so easy to have hate and anger in your soul. But I think that most of us, despite the fact that we have war in our country, all that we do want peace. We don't
Peace.
want to go and pay back. We don't want a revenge. We don't want
Right.
to go with war to Russia. We don't need it. We need peace in our country. We need to restore it from one side, but then from another side, from time to time, we have feeling we want you to know what we are going through, and it would be nice for you at least maybe not even suffer like we do, but we would like you to know about it, so that you would realize what a great mistake, a huge mistake you've done. And unfortunately, by supporting their leader, they're gonna stay in that darkness for I don't know for how many years, or all their lives probably. But they do need to realize that it's the way into nowhere, most definitely. But it's their choice, and as for us, I'm sure that we will restore our country. Yes, we will. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take lots of resources, help, and I hope that we will receive this help and will restore it. It's gonna be our beautiful country, beautiful Ukraine. Україна буде жити. Most definitely. It will live. As long as we are alive, we have very beautiful country, and I hope that when it's all over, you have chance to come and see it yourself. We have so many beautiful places in country. It's unbelievable.
Sean here. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like, a follow, and a share. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, consider giving it 5 stars. I look forward to sharing the next story with you real soon.